Hey, what's up everyone, this is my review for episode 11 of Attack on Titan. Now this episode starts where exactly the last one actually ended, which is where Eren and the commander are pretty much talking about, whether or not he's going to try to get the big boulder to the hole so they could cover it up so then they could finally, I guess you could say, be able to defend themselves against the Titans. Now, at the end of the last episode, he actually said, "I will certainly try." So he used the word try when he said it, but this time he said, "I will do it." And he said it in a more confident way, and he didn't say, "I will try." So this is one of those small things you may notice within animes, but it's just one of those small things that just kind of really stands out to me, And to me, it kind of looks like a mistake, but it would make sense if there was an explanation to why they do this. It's either that or, of course, when they get back started on making the new episode, they, of course, forget where they left off, kind of, or don't get quite the right wording. But I don't know, that's just one of those small things now I notice. Now, after they got done talking and everything, they actually got to a part where him and the commander were pretty much just walking off, and he was following the commander around and everything, and he finally got to see Haynes. Now, he didn't get to talk or anything like that. He was still just walking and following the commander, and he gave some hand gestures, which I'm guessing Haynes taught, Eren some hand gestures of a way to tell him that, hey, he's on a mission and stuff. Which is actually really cool, but it would be kind of interesting if we saw that somehow. Or maybe we're going to in the future, because maybe there's something else, as far as hand gestures and that kind of stuff, that we might see in the future, and that will probably be a better time to actually explain it. Now, Haynes was actually, even though, Eren was kind of looking at him, just treating him a little bit lower as far as, like, rankings and that kind of stuff, but he was just really happy to see that Eren's alive, which would mean Mikasa and Armin are alive. So he was just happy to kind of, I guess you could say, kind of know that, or at least think that to himself and everything. Now, shortly after that, we get to a part where, all the people are just all riled up. They're all in a big group. They're all in lines, and they're all organized, and everyone, all the soldiers and everything. And there was a few of them, and including that one guy I might have talked about in the last episode that was just so scared, and he was just freaking out so much, And he actually he was still freaking out, like, no matter how freaking much. And we got to a part where a little bit later, one of the other guys was willing to pretty much kill him. And then the guy said, that's 100 times better than being eaten by a Titan. And it was just getting a little bit crazy. Now, a little bit afterwards, we start getting to a part where pretty much, Eren and the commander are getting ready to kind of, well, like, I guess you could say round things up and everything. Now the commander, addressed at Eren, and he was, I guess you could say, really, giving Eren the chances to be in people's new icon, or at least way of hope. Being like, this is the guy that's going to get us, through everything and help us, get the boulder and everything, and told him the plans and everything like that. And I will not lie, but the commander really, he's obviously a commander, but he has a really way of commanding people around. He really does, and he's very loud and just has a really great way of just addressing himself and just getting people's attention. So I can see why he's a commander. Now, one of the things I forgot to mention is that while they were actually walking, him and Eren, the commander offered to give, Eren a drink. Now, what was interesting is that the drink, Eren immediately spit it out, and it was actually blood. And that was something that very, very much surprised me. But at the same time, I could kind of understand that maybe that's about the only thing they could drink, they're kind of used to that. Or maybe the commander really is, maybe after, going out and fighting so much, possibly, if he does, that is, he might be used to just doing that. Or maybe it's just something he kind of believes in, or something he's been doing for so many years. But that is still, again, one of those things that just really, really interests me, And I'm going to talk about something at the very end of this episode that has to do with that, possibly. Just a little crazy rantish thing. But anyways, after they do that, shortly after, they address themselves and everything, and, they start going over the plans and telling people what's going on, a lot of the people were just really, really freaking out. It was even getting worse because one of the guys, there was a couple of girls that were getting shooken up a little bit by it, and a couple of guys went up to him and was like, hey, keep on doing what you're doing, except do it louder so more people could hear you, and then I'm going to leave, and then you follow me, so then we could get other people to follow us, because I don't want to do this anymore. And what was surprising is that, when it got to the point where people were actually doing that, after people actually started, just pretty much leaving, the commander got everyone's attention again, but he wasn't being as ruthless or anything like that, like some of the other people, I'm not going to say who, some of the other leaders. And he actually, gave them a chance to leave. And for his reasoning was simply being, which was realistic, because this is one of the things that Rico, I believe her name is. If I get that wrong, I'm very sorry. The female, the short one with the glasses, that was with the other leader before. But anyways, she noted, I believe it was her that noted something that, one thing they need to consider when they do a plan is that when you consider the emotion and just the fear, you know, that people get off the Titans, you know, especially people that have seen people die before their very eyes and everything. That's a very big thing to consider, which has been proven. We've seen this many times, which this is a really good thing for her to really just note and stand out, is that we've seen many people get really, really shooken up over this stuff and sometimes just die standing there doing almost nothing just because they're so scared crapless and stuff, or sometimes someone will save them, but that person will die trying to save them, and it's just really crazy. So it's a really good thing for her to address. So the commander put it in words of, you know, once you've seen a Titan and you have been instilled by fear of the sight of Titans, and you've seen, you know, just things that are just boggled your mind, you know, it's about impossible, you know, it's pointless to actually go out there and try to fight, you know, because they're really getting forced, and that's what people were feeling like. In a way, they kind of are getting forced, you know, but at the same time, I can understand, you know, that people are like, you know, this is humanity we're talking about kind of thing. But at the same time, a lot of them, they're just really freaking scared, and there's just a lot of fear in their eyes because of this. And it's really, really crazy. But, you know, he actually took that in consideration, and he, you know, he realizes that, you know, when people get instilled by so much fear, sometimes they don't end up killing a single Titan or being useful at all. So it's better just for them to go ahead and leave, knowing that, and the people that still haven't seen a Titan or haven't been quite as impacted by it are much more likely to be successful in their attacks and everything. And that is a really, really great point. So I really like the way, I guess you could say, he addressed things, gave people the chances, wasn't being ruthless with them, but also just being honest and everything. And he got to a point where he was talking about, you know, how what's been going on, how in the past, you know, we were literally just sending out people just to keep us safe, you know, as, I guess you could say, you know, just kind of filling up space, you know, or not, I don't know what the exact word is, but, you know, people were being misused before, just so then they could try to live a little bit longer, you know, even though all of their attempts were really, really big fails and everything. And then he started, you know, getting to the where, you know, of course, Eren is, you know, right now, you know, this guy, you know, he's the result of an experiment of, you know, transforming a human into a Titan. And some of, you know, Eren's friends were actually quite surprised. You know, one of the guys was actually shooken up and he was like, what are they talking about? That doesn't make sense. And one of the girls was like, shut up. And it's like, shut up and listen, you know. And, you know, Eren is really starting to become, I guess you could say, the icon, you know, that people need to, you know, I guess you could say, look at as their way of hope. And I'm not going to lie, once people see that first sign of success, that's really going to give people a lot of freaking hope, because, like the commander said, it would be their first time of actually getting it right. And that's a really, really good point. Now, when we actually get into the planning and everything, you know, shortly afterwards, you know, there were some people that were getting ready to attack and everything, and Eren and a few of the other people that were there to protect him, pretty much, they went ahead and went ahead with the plan and everything. And right when they were about to go towards the boulder, and they were going to try to, you know, of course, protect him while he's trying to lift the thing, because you don't want to tip him over with, he has that big thing, but really try to help him and everything. And of course, they shot something in there that looked like a flare, actually, to get people's attention as a signal, which is, you know, quite smart and everything. Still kind of surprised that they have this, but then again, I'm not too surprised, you know, with the cannons and everything. But when they did that, you know, it ended with, you know, of course, you know, Eren and everyone else getting ready, going towards the boulder, and Eren, right towards the end, he turned into a Titan in front of everybody, and everybody was just blown away, like, especially the people that had never seen it before, you know. Some of the people did, and the commander saw it for the first time before his very eyes, unless he was watching without people knowing, which is kind of, you know, creepy in some way, but, you know. But when that actually happened, you know, people were really, really surprised, and it ended with, you know, Mikasa not being too far away from Eren, and it looked like he punched the crap out of her, killed her. And that's how it ended. It's like, oh my gosh. Now, that's the thing about these episodes. They always end on these cliffhangers. That just blows my mind. It's crazy. They always do a great job of that. They really, really do. And that's... it's funny because it seems like something that they really plan ahead of time, but it's always unexpected. It's like... but sometimes it can be a little bit predictable, but they do it in such a natural way that it just goes with the pacing of the episode so well that these things just, bam, you know, pop up at the very end as just cliffhangers or something, or just something like, oh, I gotta watch the next episode kind of thing. So they did a really great job on that. I really want to see what happens. I'm thinking, you know, from what I've seen in the past, you know, either one, he completely lost control, which he was fighting the Titans before, so I don't know if, like, maybe there's some sort of spirit or something inside of him that's fighting back, being like, okay, Eren's aware that I exist, or, you know, of the Titan body, he knows what's going on, I gotta fight back as much as possible. Or he actually saw something or someone that was about to attack Mikasa, and he saved her at the last second. But I also saw something else that was a little preview of the next episode that made me think otherwise, so it's just a really big, just like, confusion ball. But But that's pretty much it. I'm going to give this episode, I feel kind of bad about this, but a 3.9 out of 5. Like, at best. I would think 4.2, but that might be a little bit too much, because not very many things happened, and nothing really stood out. Nothing was really interesting. One of the things that kind of annoyed me, and it wasn't just like one part of the episode, it happened quite often, was when they had those pictures, like moving pictures, or motion pictures, whatever you want to call them, and they did not do animation for certain scenes, and I really do hate that. But I do respect, they do a great job, like, on certain areas, they do a great job on, they focus on spots where they do a great job on the animation right here, but they leave it out in this area. I would rather have them have good quality in 80% of the episode or more, and then small segments having no animation, instead of it being kind of bumpy animation where it's good here, it's bad here, it's here, and then it's like that, because that's something you see in a lot of animes, you know, at least quite a few of them, you know, I'm not gonna lie, and that's at least something that I do respect. But still, that's one of those things, we saw quite a bit of it, and not too much things actually happened, so it wouldn't really seem like it would be that hard to do this episode. There wasn't really any action, you know, at least not till the end or anything like that, or not even action really, but there was just, they could have done better on the animation, focused on it more. So really, I'm going to give it 3.9 out of 5, you know, overall. I'm still excited, I'm still interested on, I guess you could say, why that guy spat out blood, you know, the commander, when Eren drank it, you know, why the commander was drinking blood and, you know, giving it to Eren, but I don't know. I will probably make a video going on a rant about it, just a little bit, but that's pretty much it for today, guys. And if there's anything else that you think, or anything else that actually did stood out, or something that I forgot to mention, then make sure to post that in the comment section below, or just tell me, guys, what you think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Or any of that kind of stuff? So that's pretty much it, guys, and thanks again, guys, for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.